All right, in today's video, I'm going to give you 3 heroes that I think are best for learning Marvel Rivals. For beginners who are new to the shooters and that sort of genre, and you want to have a pocket hero for each role so that when you go into a competition, you go into a match, you can fill for your team. It's very important to help them out so they can play what they're best at, and you still have an option that you understand. Now, there are difficulty ratings in Marvel Rivals. As we can see, Rocket Raccoon here has a 1-star rating, and for the most part, I would agree with a lot of the star ratings. But there's one that I'm going to get to later on in this video that I think is great for beginners that has a higher than 1-star rating, funny enough. So we're going to cover 1 strategist, 1 duelist, and 1 vanguard. And we're going to start it off with Rocket Raccoon, the strategist. I think this is the best strategist to learn the role. And we're going to look at some tips and the abilities that he has, right? So he's got his Gatling gun, that's his main shooting. Now, it's not that reliable, it sprays. So if the target's moving around and you're trying to track them, you're not going to hit that many shots. If they're standing still, you're going to pin them down and it's going to be no problem. But really what you want to do with this hero is use your right click. And that's also going to consume, there's 2 sets of ammo all the way on the far left there. So there's 38 out of 45 on the Gatling, and then 3 orbs into a reload for his right click, which is his heal. Now these orbs, as I change it to the support, you don't actually need to hit your target. Yes, you will deal more healing if you get closer. But watch these 2 galactic bugs, okay? They're both taking damage. I'm going to hit the one on the left. Watch what happens to the one on the right. So not as much, but quite a bit, right? It's actually proximity of the orbs. Now let's go in the middle here. As the orb continues to trail, it's giving out equal healing because it was right down the middle, or at least close to, right? So you don't actually need to hit your target with these orbs, which means you can just spray. You can pretty much just spray in the vicinity of your allies, and you are going to be doing a lot of healing. Look, these guys aren't even taking damage right now, and I can pretty much just spam this all day long. So the idea with Rocket is we want to stay in the back, a little bit far back, give our allies heals who are tanking the damage, dealing damage in the front lines. That is one of the main basic keys to Rocket. Now, I will tell you a few things as we get a little deeper into this. Yes, there's a lot of different ways you can play Rocket, and this isn't always going to be the right way. I think it's the right way if you're new to the game, if you're those early ranks, you're trying to learn and just not make too many mistakes. This is a very easy way to just keep your team alive, which is what your role is as Rocket. You're trying to keep your allies alive. You can also do this with his resurrect machine. I don't even know what it's called exactly, but yeah, throw this out. And then when an ally dies, they're going to resurrect here. It's also going to dish out these little armor packs, but we don't have to worry about that too much. What you want this to be, this device, you want it fairly close to the action. You don't want it all the way back in the spawn because then they might have, well, have just respawned anyways. So you want it kind of close to the action so they can respawn and get back into the fight. And the other thing, the last thing that I'll say here is he has a little jetpack. This is such a great tool for getting out of danger, and then, you know, you could even run up the wall and you can also float. So he has mobility, he has ways of escaping and getting out of the fight, and basically almost all the time you just want to use this as an escape, or if you have to quickly get to an ally to give them some heals. Wherever this guy was, there you go. And lastly, his ultimate. So you can just throw this down basically on cooldown when there's a lot of your allies around. It's going to give them a bunch of buffs, and in particular a lot of damage increase. So it's actually a very strong ultimate, but you pretty much want to use it recklessly as much as you can. Okay. And to charge your ultimate, so you can also deal damage, and the ultimate charge, that's one of the most important tips in this game, honestly, is charging your ultimate. So time is going to charge your ultimate. Dealing damage is going to charge it. So as you can see, we just gained like 10% very, very, very quickly. But as this guy responds and he starts taking damage, this is not as much of a charge, but you will see as we're slowly going up to 40, there we go, and then I'm going to heal, quickly goes up to 42, 43. Healing does increase your ultimate charge. So there's dealing damage, time, and then healing. These are all factors that are going to contribute to getting your ultimate faster, which if you can get more ultimates than your opponents, that's a huge advantage in this game. So something to consider.
This is real firepower!
Who the frig is shooting me, dude? For the Duelist class, I highly recommend the Punisher. And the biggest reason for this is, yes, he has a lot of tricks. He's got a lot of different guns that you can use, but it's understanding range. So you can use your assault rifle from afar, and you can get in close and use your shotgun. This is really all you need to be focusing on when you're playing the Punisher. And I know there's a lot of layers to this, and a lot of pro players are going to mix in more tactics. Totally understand, and I highly recommend getting used to everything else. But if you're a beginner and you're just learning these heroes, you want to learn how to play Marvel Rivals and what all these crazy abilities are doing, well, just with the Punisher, dial in on those two weapons. Shooting your assault rifle, hitting your target. When they get in close, use that shotgun. It's one of the most powerful weapons in the game. It's going to charge your ultimate very, very quickly because we do know that ultimate charge. Here, I'll pop this one and you can see the ultimate. It's crazy. It deals like just so much damage, right? So you want to... It's one of the strongest ones. You are vulnerable. People are going to know that you popped it and that you might be weak, but you're going to deal a lot of damage. Watch this, okay? Assault rifle. What, we gained about 16% there, I would say, on our ultimate charge. Here we have the shotgun blast. Boom, 3%. It's almost 3% a shot. 2 to 3% a shot. So that's going to get very quickly already, you know, we're at 50% of the way there. We just used our ultimate. So something to consider. And if we wanted to get into the details, yes, you can throw down your turret, which is great. You're going to take less damage and you're going to deal out a lot. But you will be in a prone position. You can cancel this anytime and run away, though. And then your escape is your zip line. You do have to hit a wall. It can be a little bit buggy. You are going to do a weird little jump after, but it is a nice escape, or if you want to get to the battle a little bit quicker. The smoke grenade is probably like the weirdest one for him. I find it better for an escape than actually throwing at the enemies. It can technically do damage, but I don't really recommend focusing on that because you throw it at him and did like, I don't know, not a whole lot. Usually use it in an escape to obscure the vision on the battlefield. So Punisher, highly recommend starting with this hero.
Scums, judge, jury, executioner! Double kill! That's 3! You'll have to keep fighting until we have a winner.
That was clutch at the end, the triple kill. And then lastly, my Vanguard of choice for beginners is actually Magneto. And this is the one that I was talking about that is not a 1-star rating character. I didn't really like, or I had a hard time with the Vanguard role when I started playing Rivals. And I think it's because it's kind of, you know, it's difficult to gauge how deep you need to go in as that tank, how far in the front lines you need to be to soak up damage without giving your enemies too much of an ultimate charge, without dying, giving range for your healers to support you. And I think that Magneto does this the best for learning the curve anyways. And there's a few reasons for this. One, he deals splash damage. Very forgiving. So I don't actually have to hit my target head on. So I can just, as the tank, be in the front line and just really be throwing out this damage and not really hitting them, just being in the vicinity. It's not the most splash damage. Here, if we hit the ground, you can see that a little bit better. But you will be doing splash damage. Another thing, shielding. So I can shield allies. I could pull one up, or I can shield myself. This shield is pretty great. It's going to reduce incoming damage, and it's only on a 10-second cooldown. So I constantly get a shield so I can support myself. Lastly, we have the L shift. Boom. We can use this right here, and it's going to block all incoming projectiles. I'll try and show you guys a clip. If Iron Man, for instance, uses his ultimate, and it's coming down, and it's about to kill your entire enemy team, use this shield and jump right in front. You'll absorb the whole thing. It's crazy. Now, really what you want to be doing, though, with Magneto is just standing kind of in range, being in between your healers and the enemy team, and just constantly using your little Magneto throw, meteor throw, and your basic attacks, and you're good to go. Now, the biggest thing with Magneto, though, is teaming him up with Scarlet Witch. So when Scarlet Witch is on your team, you get this team up ability, and it is so strong. I also forgot to mention the Rocket and Punisher team up ability, which is also very strong. But this one is very, very integral to the Magneto selection. I almost don't pick Magneto ever if Scarlet Witch is not on the team. Still not a bad choice, but when Scarlet Witch is on, it's like, oh, it's so good. Because look at the damage here. So you click C, and all of a sudden you get this sword. You can use this actually at a range. It looks like a sword that should be in close range, but it deals like this big slash that goes down the field. And it deals a crazy amount of damage. It's basically like a second ultimate. It does have a long cooldown, but it's because it does so much damage. And then lastly, the ultimate here. You will actually absorb some projectiles while you are channeling this, and then you throw it down, dealing a lot of damage. You are not invulnerable or anything that when you're channeling this ultimate ability, so watch out. You can still get picked off, but it's going to do really well. So that's pretty much it. Those are the 3 heroes that I recommend starting off with, 1 from each role. A lot of the Vanguards are tricky, man. It's a bit tough. And I think Magneto just is in a sweet spot, so I recommend trying him out. And Punisher is a lot of fun, and Rocket, if you get good with him running around, he can be very satisfying. A lot of heals can be dished out. Now, if you were looking for gameplay to see actually how these play out, I'm going to be streaming this game every single night, 9 p.m. Eastern, and I have a lot of footage already on my channel of playing these heroes, and I'm going to share some videos just of some game highlights. So definitely stay tuned, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and I will catch you guys next time. Shut up.